All right, good morning. Welcome to TRIFORCE presentation 2020, brought to you by BPI. We are a two-step distributor. Have been around since the 1960s. I'm your host, Chad Furley. I'm an engineer wood specialist. Been in the industry 30 plus years. And also with us is Dennis Sill from TRIFORCE, a national sales manager, and also been around for 32 years. Before we get started, everybody's going to be muted, and then at the end I will open it up for questions. So that's the way it's going to go down today, and we'll save the questions till the end, and Dennis and I will jump on those and get those answered for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about the evolution of the open joist. So Dennis, jump in.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Chad, for having me on here. Back in the late 80s, there was a product developed that was called Open Joist 2000, which was the first kind of revolutionary joist, which was an open web joist that used finger joint technology. It was also trimmable up to 5.5 inches on each end, so it had blocks on both ends, and was in the marketplace by itself until around 2008. When the second generation of product was invented and brought to mass production, and that's called the TRIFORCE joist, and that's what you see here. So it's a very unique looking joist, as you can see. You have a 2x3 block on one end and a trimmable I-joist looking block on the other end, or trimmable cut on the other end. So you have very large openings featured in this product. It's very flexible to be able to trim the ends, and it's manufactured in 2-foot increments, so it's easily stocked at our distributor's yard.
We're going to talk about joist identification. Dennis will talk about how it meets the code in your area.
Yeah, the joists are identified. It's very unique and very easy to use at the job site. You have a top and a bottom on the joist, which it clearly on the bottom will show your local building codes as well as national codes, and also it identifies the joist. There is a top and bottom to the joist, so it very clearly states how you're supposed to bring the joist into production. So and those of you that are in new areas, you can see here on this picture, your building inspectors can walk the job site and clearly identify that the product has all the national code approvals that are needed.
Joist orientation, they can go either direction. It can go either on the inside to a bearing point, whether it be a beam, a wall, and then the trimmable part can also go towards the end. If you need to trim it out there on the end where your rim joist is, it can go either direction.
And that's really key when you're talking about a product like this. The ease of installation is one of the main thing contractors like. Imagine the flexibility you have if you don't have to drill any holes. You don't have to do any drop down ceilings to get your plumbing and electricity into your joist. If you want to run your electrical and plumbing lines to the outside, you simply will decide to design the placement guide so that it shows the 2x3 block to the outside. If you need more space to the inside, we can turn it around. But that flexibility is seen throughout this product, and I guess that's a key to the success of TRIFORCE. Is as you know, many of your foundations are off, and that trimmability will come into play quite a bit.
Perfect. And here's an example of how they are seated. You have a beam over here on the right hand side with joist hangers, and then towards the outside the trimmable part, and you can see how the bays line up all the way through and how important that is.
Yes, and that picture kind of illustrates you've got a nice clean floor when you use this product. You don't have any inhibiting plates that are blocking anything. We'll talk about our fire code approval later, but you can see if you leave your basement ceilings open, your homeowner can easily put in speaker wires or anything else after the fact. It's a very clean, easy product to work with.
Okay, we're going to jump into some of the features and benefits. The features and benefits of this product. We'll talk about the importance of the kill drying process, and the benefits include some of the wider nailing surfaces and ease of installation.
When you're looking at the benefits on the first point, the solid sawn kill dry cords, all of our product is Eastern black spruce, which is the strongest spruce that is produced, and it comes all entirely out of Eastern Canada. So you're getting a very strong product anyway. The whiting nail surfaces come into play in a couple ways. Ease of installation when your subfloors are getting attached. There's a wider glue and nailing surface than you have, for example, with 1.5 inches on dimension lumber. It also gives you much more stability if you go on these longer lengths and the longer spans. We switch to a 2x4 cord. You're going to get much stronger floors with that 2x4 cord than you would with a 2x3. The stability of the product is a function of a couple things. The triangular configuration and the finger jointing makes it a very stable product. We also finger joint very dry lumber, so it's very stable out in the field, and it's very easy to install because it's a very lightweight product. You're looking at, typically this product runs around 30% less than a 2x10 in weight or dimension in weight.
Perfect. And then also the importance of kill dried webs, 2x2 webs all the way through.
Yeah, the 2x2 webs is unique. People say, well, how do you get away with that? When you're using the 2x2 webs, not only does it give you a much wider opening for any installation of anything underneath, but it also allows us to use wood fiber more efficiently than other products can. This product will outspan a plated floor truss and use a lot less wood fiber to do it. So the strength in our product is the way that the 2x2s are finger jointed into the top and bottom cords with the phenol glue. So it makes it very strong, very efficient when you're talking about a green friendly product. This is probably the most environmentally friendly product there is out there, because we use less fiber and we actually produce a more proficient product than any other product that's out there.
Web stock in detail, the 24-inch trimmable, why that's important.
Yeah, the 24-inch, I think we touched on it a little bit, but you want to have flexibility and you want to have your job go correctly, and most people have a fair amount of variation on their foundations when they're poured out in the field. It's not everything's not always perfect, and having that trimmable in up to 2 feet gives you flexibility to do some different things out in the job site. The fact that it's manufactured in 2-foot increments is, makes it very similar to if you use dimension lumber, which comes in 2-foot increments, and very easy for our distributors to stock. So it's a mass manufactured product. It's on the ground, and BPI has this on the ground in 2-foot increments.
Excellent. And then I know we talked about it briefly, the glued and finger jointed technology, no metal plates, is kind of unique as well with this product line.
Yeah, it's the product that we use. It's a phenol glue that is very strong, very fire resistant glue. We're going to talk a little bit about our testing, but it's a very strong glue that has been around in the marketplace for years and years. But it gives you a product that has a very long-term. We talk about long-term performance. It has a lifetime guarantee that works very well without the plates. And the plates, when you get into metal plates, it, at times there could be an accident out in the field where a forklift hits it, or somebody bangs the plate away, and it'll come apart. And then you take a complicated repair to fix it. The mechanical, electrical, plumbing damage, most of that happens in the field when you have a plumber or electric. Most of the time it's plumbers, but they hit a plate and damage the joist, and then they have to do an expensive engineering repair. With our product, there's no chance of that happening, and you have a lot less callbacks when you're using a glued product.
Exactly. And the other thing that's very important about it, it eliminates the potential for squeaking, which is kind of unique as well. Trusses, you can get some squeaks, but with this particular product being glued and finger jointed, it really eliminates a lot of that type of squeaks going on in your floor system.
And that's a good point that Chad just made on the squeaks. I failed to hit that part. When you have squeaks in a floor, it very rarely has anything to do with the lumber. It has something to do with either a hanger or a plate has come loose. And by eliminating those products from, or those issues in your floor, you have a much more squeak-free floor, I'd say.
Correct. And then we're going to talk about the importance of the triangular configuration and why you guys do it that way.
Well, the triangular configuration, any open web gives you a much better floor as far as vibration than a solid sauna or an I-joist can do. This product was developed in Canada where they have strict vibration criteria, and they needed a product that would be able to absorb vibration, and an open web will do that. So you're looking at dispersing your loads and your vibration much more efficiently with the triangular configuration than you would with any solid sawn. You don't have to worry about holes out in the field. I talked about that a little bit. That's probably a major problem that we have with an I-joist or solid sawn, where somebody comes by and drills holes where they're not supposed to be, and it causes all kinds of job delays and problems. So it all kind of leads up to a higher performance floor than maybe you're used to. It's proven that the homeowners and the feel of the floor type of thing that homeowners want, that TRIFORCE gives them, knocks off all the boxes as far as giving them what they're looking for.
And then quality guarantee, as far as the way they're built and then inspected, is very important as well through TRIFORCE. That's
exactly right. We have a third-party inspector that comes into our plant. We really have a two-stage testing procedure where we have a third party that comes in and make sure that we're staying with our quality control manuals. We also are the only product that is individually tested, only engineered product that each piece is individually tested at our plant. So what does that do for you? That gives you 100% uses. That gives you peace of mind that you know that you're going to have a perfect product. It's very unique to people. Have a hard time believing that we can do that, but it's very unique to our product, and it's a very good selling point for us to homeowners that could be concerned about, does that glue really hold, or how do we know it's going to be a good solid product? And we ensure that by testing every piece before it leaves.
Excellent. This is again how they individually test. Got a couple of different pieces of equipment here. Dennis will explain what these how these work.
Yeah, again, this is to expand on what I just said a little bit. On the top right picture that you see there, periodically we break a joist to, just to test the wood fiber. And we have to be very selective on what kind of mills we use. You can if we go to mills that the density isn't quite as good on the lumber, we're going to have a lot more breakage. So we don't want to use that. So we have to use high quality lumber. It's amazing how far we have to go to be able to break one of these. In that top right hand corner, you know, a lot of times these joists will last almost 6 times the published deflection before it will break. And very rarely, I got to tell you, very rarely when we do break one, will it break on the joint or where it was glued. It's usually a split or a check or a knot that got through that we didn't see, and that's where it'll break. Now the bottom right picture, you can see it's more. This is a very robotic plant. Everything goes through a very efficient line, and what you're seeing here is each joist goes through and deflection is put down on the trusses and ensures that everything gets through correctly. So one thing to keep in note, you know, people say, well, if you're testing every joist, or you're worried that you're weakening it. That's not the case. This joist has a very good memory to it. Unlike a plated floor truss, if you put any kind of loads on it, you could damage the plate connector to the wood fiber. With the TRIFORCE, it won't do that, which comes real helpful on a job site if somebody puts a 5,000-pound load of shingles on your floor, and you hope they don't damage the floor.
Excellent. Vibration criteria, we talked a little bit about that, and this is how you kind of eliminate some of that by running a stromback in sections of it to hold it together. Running all the way through the floor system really helps tie the floor system as one unit and makes it stronger.
Yeah, the vibration criteria, or the strongback that we put in is not required in the United States, but we always designed it in because it's a low cost addition to make your floor so much better. Really what strongback does is, as Chad said, it helps your floor work as a unit as opposed to all the loads going down on one joist. You know, one thing you notice, you don't see blocking or bridging needed in this product. It's a strong back that we recommend, and it makes a huge difference in your floor. So it's a very simple, easy way to strengthen your floor. And if you look down at detail 5 below there, it shows 3 different ways that you can do it. You can either, you know, the best way to do it is have 2 strong backs in there, but the majority of the field are using option number 2, where they use an upright and a 2x6 on end nailed to that upright and 1 nail underneath. And the third way you could do it is just nail it right to the webs. You can toenail it into the webs in the bottom cord, so that's effective also. So sometimes you have to be a little crafty out in the field, depending on how your HVAC and plumbing and electrical are running, to decide where you put it. But it's a very effective way to improve your floor.
And then if we want to run a piece of duct or something through that area, we can get it through there and join it up somewhere else and tie it all back together. All right, and here's a prime example of how it's all installed. We can actually see the 2x6 running there, and then a 2x2 or 2x4 attached, and basically tying that floor system together to make it one unit. And the 2x3 sitting over there on the end only needs 1.5 inches of bearing top of that beam.
Yeah, one thing to keep in note that we see quite often that we have to go back and instruct the framing crews is they'll install a strong back flat instead of on end, and it really doesn't have any strength if you put it flat. So if they're doing it, they need to attach it as you see in this photo.
Perfect. All right, mechanical clearances. This is a question we get quite often. On the 11 and 7/8, you can get a 7/4 round in. On the 14-inch, 8.5 round, and the 16-inch, a 9.5 round.
Yeah, just imagine if you have a 3x5 plate over these similar sizes, how much less opening that you have. Um, you know, most of the time, what in our design, you try to run your main trunk lines between the joists and run your flexible duct into the joist. And you can see we have a wide area for you to do that. So very easy, very clean to be able to get everything through. Um, like Chad said, it's when you're looking at a 9.5-inch round, that should handle just about any air conditioning or heating need that you need.
Absolutely. Fire performance. This is kind of unique as well with this product. It is the only piece of engineered wood product on the market right now that meets the fire code. So Dennis will explain how he's able to meet the fire code with this product.
Yeah, there several years ago in 2012, the United States, the code enforcement stipulated a fire code throughout the country, and they've left it up to the states to adopt it and enforce it around the country. So basically what this code is that in certain states there's a requirement to drywall your basement ceilings to make code for any product other than dimensional lumber. Well, no EWP product could meet that. So what we did is we know we have a very unique product with the finger joinery, which really binds the wood together to make it one member. So we sent our product out to a testing agency in Washington State to test the product and try to meet the code, which is basically to simplify it. It's that your floor will not destruct in 15 minutes. It has to be at the last 15 minutes to be able to meet that code. So when you're looking at an I-joist, the floor will destruct in about 7 minutes, plated probably around 9, and our product will make 15 minutes, which in Minnesota and in Kansas City, and there's a few. Iowa is kind of touch and go, right, Chad? On some areas they're enforcing it, some aren't.
Yep, correct. In Nebraska, so.
We're the only product that you do not, only engineered product that you do not need to drywall your entire basement. Our requirement, as you see, is a cladding over whatever's left on that I-joist end. That can be a gyp or OSB. Majority of people use OSB on that end. It's the only requirement we have to meet code. So what does that mean to home builders? It could be $2,000 to $3,000 savings in labor and material by not having to drywall your basement ceilings to meet that code. So it gives us a very big advantage in the marketplace. You know, we'll talk a little bit about pricing later, but it's when you look at using TRIFORCE as a system, it's a very economical and very cost efficient product to use, and this fire code kind of puts us right over the edge as probably the best engineered product to use to meet that code.
Let's talk about attachment, Dennis. This is showing actual screws, and now you have it approved for just PL 400 adhesive or equivalent.
Yeah, you can just use the glue, or originally we had it tested with screws, but now we have approval for glue, and you know, makes it even more easily. What we try to stress is that you need to be within a quarter of an inch of the lumber with your cladding. If your opening is too far and you don't close up that area, then you can use a fire caulk to fill in the cracks around there. But again, very easily installation on it.
Excellent. Best time to install that is either when you're cutting it and or right before you put the decking on. Go ahead and it's most of the time it's at your fingertips to go ahead and get that taken care of ahead of time, and saves you from going back and trying to put it on later. So.
And this performance that we have out here has been, you know, when we go into new areas, the building inspectors like to see more information on it many times. So feel free to reach out to Chad or us, and we regularly will talk to the local building inspectors and get them more detail if they need it. But we haven't had too many problems with it so far.
Excellent. All right, here's one of my favorite things about TRIFORCE is if you break anything on this particular joist, you can just go to Open Joist TRIFORCE and download the fix and continue on with your project without waiting on myself and or an engineer to get back to you, which makes these guys rather unique.
Yeah, you know, one of our models is speed, and where speed meets strength, and this falls into the speed category, where, you know, your installation with this product is extremely quick. The product is so lightweight and easy to handle. The installation is great, but somebody comes in and cuts a cord or cuts a web. You don't want your job to have to stop and wait 2 to 3 days for an engineer to come back and give you a fix for it. So most of our repairs are online, and you can go in, like Chad said, and just download the PDF or DWG file and bring it out to the job site and show the inspector or show your framers, here's how you fix it, move on. Now, in some areas, you may need a seal for that. If you do need seals, we can provide seals on the repairs, but the majority of the time, we do not need that.
Perfect. All right, so now we'll talk about available joist sizes. This is kind of what we have stocked on the ground here in CB. 11 7/8. We stock a 6-foot through 22-foot. The 14-inch, we stock a 6-foot through 26-foot. The 16-inch, we stock a 6-foot through 30-foot. All on hand.
When you look at that chart, it's a little unique how we do things here. If you look at the OJ, it says OJ 314 or 315 or 415. The 3 stands for 2x3 webs. And then you have a 1.4 E value lumber up to 16 foot. And then 15 foot or 18 foot has got a 1.5. And then I'm looking at 11 7/8. And then the 22 foot is a 1.8. So what you see, what we're doing here is that, again, we're using wood fiber the most efficiently as possible. You don't need a 1.8 E value for a 10-foot span. So why put that extra cost into your joist? So the performance is just as good by using a 1.4 and a 2x3 web. So one thing you have to kind of pay attention to when you're ordering hangers is that when you get to those longer lengths where it switches to 2x4 instead of 2x3 cords, you know, that you noticed it. But BPI will list what hangers you need on their placement guides, and it's clearly marked.
Let's talk about real quick, Dennis. Let's talk about some spans that you get out of the 11 7/8 and 14-inch and 16, just kind of briefly.
Yeah, the 16-inch, it's very effective when you're looking at just on standard loading. Our 16-inch spans can get up to about almost 30 foot when you talk about 12 inches on center, but 16-inch on center, you're looking at around 28.2, 28.3, around in there. So a plated floor truss could probably span, what do you think, Chad, around 25 feet for plated for that depth?
Yep, around that depth, yeah.
So we're you know, very long spanning product compared to other products that are out there. TRIFORCE is a clear span product where those of you are used to using an I-joist, it's a multi-span product. So what we do is we'll span from bearing to bearing, and we try to, if we can get these longer spans and to work right in your project, eliminate steel where possible. and save you money there also. So that's another cost savings that we have for having these long spans. But by having a simple span product versus a multi-span, we also are able to eliminate the vibration that goes from one room to the next. So it's, again, makes you a very quiet, clean floor.
Perfect. Okay, let's peace of mind underfoot. You know, the biggest thing with us is you can talk to your local lumberyard rep, and you know, availability and order placement, and then you can also contact me here in CB via cell or email, and we'll open this up for questions. All right, go ahead. Up for questions.
Chad.
Yes.
Dennis, how do we get that information to the local inspectors?
Well, if you have an inspector in a marketplace that's looking for more information, getting a lot of feedback here, but just contact BPI, and BPI will either handle it or call us, and we will reach out to the local inspector in those areas and talk to them. There's been many times where Chad or myself have gone and met with them in person and gone through it. Usually the only reason.
All right, any other questions out there?
Do you use the rim board with this product?
That's a great question. Okay, Dennis, you want to hit on that real quick?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think BPI, what you're stocking is an 1.8" structural rim board, correct? So, yes, you know, we recommend it. And local codes vary, but at times you can get away with them using the structural rim board on the 2x3 end, but most local codes will require a structural rim board.
Any other questions out there?
Well, yeah, guys, I got a question. There's a top and bottom. I guess number one, why is there a top and bottom? And number two is, what if guys put the bottom upside down, the bottom's on top? Is that going to be a major problem?
It's
Great
not a
question.
major problem. There is no camber in this product, so it's you can't go up upside down or right side up, but you want to keep all your webs aligned. So there is a top and bottom so that you can see all the code approvals on the bottom, and it just, you know, typically you know, what the problems that we'll run into is somebody will go a long line, they'll run 10 joists and put them in correctly, and then they'll put one upside down. And the big problem with that isn't the structural problem. The problem is all of a sudden you got webs crisscrossing out in the job site. So that's the major problem with that.
Great question.
These are trimmable, correct?
Yes, they're trimmable up to 2 feet on one end. So remember, you're coming in 2 foot increments, and then it's trimmable on top of that. So you have all kinds of flexibility in between.
Great question. Any others out there?
How about the cost comparison between I-joists and plated trusses?
That's a great question. In our market, we've been seeing roughly about, we'll be about 10 to 15% more than an I, but roughly about 10 to 15% less than a plated truss. So it kind of falls right there in the middle is where it falls.
And that's per lineal foot cost. So remember all the things we talked about selling as a system. When you're looking at, if you don't have to drywall your basement ceilings, if you eliminate steel because of longer spans, you know, the speed of installation and lack of recalls to have to go back out in the field to fix things, this will compete with an I-joist on any job. So sometimes you have to get out of the lineal foot versus lineal foot mentality and look at the total system and understand, you know, it's a very efficient product to use.
The other thing, we kind of touched on it briefly, is the weight of the product. I mean, it's third the weight of dimensional, so it's easier for everyone to handle in the field, which is kind of key in some areas. Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a question here. What's the availability or lead time to get this stuff?
Okay, lead time. We stock it here in CB. So if you have a normal truck in your area, usually a couple days transfer from Bluffs to Sioux Falls, and then it usually will hit your regular truck that you have coming to your yard. So it's pretty quick. I would say within a week and a half, we can have it to you. So it's quick.
And
that's the other thing. We'll
the
talk about
product is
lead time.
mass manufactured. The product's mass manufactured on our side, and we have about 7 million lineal feet sitting on the ground right now. So it's all, we're not building it as you order it. So plated floor trusses can be up to 8 weeks in lead time or more in the busy season, where BPI is pretty efficient at getting product moved around and out to the field.
Excellent question. Anything else out there? All right. With that being said, we've got some details coming out here soon for first-time users. It's going to be a rebate that'll be coming out. You'll see that out from BPI. So we are going to try to incentivize it a little bit for first-time users and try to get it out there and let you guys try this product. So any other questions? If not, we'll wrap it up. I want to thank you all for jumping in today and learning about a new product here that we have at BPI. Kind of, separates us from everyone else. We have new innovative products that a lot of people don't have. One of them. This force system's been pretty amazing in the markets. We've got a couple of houses on Minnetonka in the higher range. So we do a lot of additions with it as well. They're perfect for that. We do a lot, Kaboji with a ton of additions. So it's a great product. And if you guys have any questions, ask your reps, or feel free to reach out to me anytime you want. Over here on the right-hand side, there's my cell and also my email address. And we'll just want to say thank you. And you guys all have a great day. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.